Last time on No Zed Network.
Welcome to the Grand Video Game Museum. There are micro weeeee plastics in my micro. Is that fucking Times New Roman size and Oh hey, so it turns out the prison they put me in was Canadian, so they just made me do community service and they let me go. They actually even paid me for it. Oh, and they let me keep my fried off skin, look. And now, with these kind Canadian dollars in my hand, I shall now go on a quest of goodwill. Get it like the store, that's what the video is about, Goodwill, yeah. Goodwill is a company whose logo is a lowercase letter G, and I bet you never even noticed it. Even if you haven't been to a Goodwill, you know what it's about. Ever since I moved to the US, I've been a total Goodwill fiend. I've amassed quite the collection of trinkets and whatchamacallits over the years, some of which I think are pretty interesting. The mix of, oh boy, I hope I can find something genuinely good at a bargain price, and oh boy, what the fuck did I just come across, is exhilarating. It's like gambling, except that if you lose, you infect your hands with mold. Now, I would go into some kind of history or fun facts section here, but this company is weirdly normal? Like, there isn't any kind of weird story or incident about Goodwill, despite the fact the stuff they can sell is, well, it's only fair I show you by following the worldwide sanctioned thrift store video format. So, mate, we're going to Goodwill, the original American cashies, mate, yeah? So, turns out they were mid-renovations, so the entire media section was just kind of scattered around the store. But that doesn't mean you can't get your Confederate beats fixed. Somebody donated 5 complete seasons of a show called West Wing, and specifically season 2 is missing. They just liked season 2 too much to let it go. Every Goodwill has the toilet paper mound, but only this one has Tommy I Go. Over 2 hours long. Is that the length of the DVD or for how long Tommy I Goes for? They had a tax calculator. No wonder no one's bought this. Taxes suck. So I'm in the tech section, right? There was like some nice keyboards and whatever. But look, it's the pinnacle of technology, the Magic 8 Ball. Magic 8 Ball, when will I, oh, shit, hold on, no, still not, no. Oh, there we go. I asked God for a best hunting buddy, and he gave me my daughter and divorce papers. So, between all the CDs scattered around the store, I found 7 different cooking manual CDs, all of which were made by CBS, except the dessert one, I guess? Fun fact about the mattresses at Goodwill, they're all new. Goodwill is legally barred from selling used mattresses because of liability. I bet someone found drugs in a Goodwill mattress once. Lucky sod. They're also apparently not supposed to sell exercise equipment. But unless this is for employee enrichment, I think they're selling exercise equipment, boss. An actual Singer sewing machine. That's genuinely neat. It even came with its own weird stand. Here's a guitar-shaped thing for your wall? I don't own a Connect, but even if I did, this copy is not for resale. I just got out of jail. I don't want to go back. If you watch Technology Connections, then you know that this mini fridge sucks. These aren't butt plugs. These are tumblers, not butt plugs. So I first thought this was like a poker or chess set, but no, it's one of those cases full of art supplies. I actually got one of these as a gift ages ago. It wasn't very good, so I'm not surprised that this landed here. Oh hey, it's one of those light up moon lamps. Present her him this moon to start. Start what, you ask? For romantic, of course. Is she dating the moon? But what did I actually take home? Well, not much. What I usually buy the most, the vinyl records, weren't stocked the day I went. But I did get 3 things. A slightly damaged but otherwise pristine copy of McCartney 1 on CD. I'm a huge Beatles fan, so this is an absolute win. The Magic 8 Ball! I remember seeing one of these in Toy Story 1 and never seeing one in real life. It's a pretty cool display piece. The tax calculator, it was just too funny to pass up. The digital calculator part works, but the part that prints out text seems to be jammed in some way. But don't you worry, I did what anyone would naturally do in this situation. So that is the average experience of when you visit a Goodwill, ignoring the missing media section. But I've still got plenty to show you. Let's go over to my brand new shelf. His name is Billy. Let's first start at the bottom shelf with our first category. Out of all the trinkets I buy at Goodwill, I usually buy CDs the least. There's never usually anything that funny or something I genuinely want in there. However, we still have a few. The majority is regular, genuinely good albums, Frank Sinatra, Paul McCartney, Benny Goodman, etc. But one day, I found this. Classical Music for People Who Hate Classical Music was a 4 CD set of iconic classical music from various periods, with the intent purpose of trying to change the listener's mind on classical music. I like classical music, I'm just bad at remembering 90% of the names. So I recognize Claire de Lune and absolutely nothing else. Pulling up the actual tracks, I actually recognize most of these tunes. They even got the morning music up in here. The other strange CDs I have are 2 CD-ROMs. The first is the one and only Oregon Trail. This seems to be some kind of special edition, kind of like a player's choice version of a console game. But because of this, they took out any mention of which edition this game is. Yeah, apparently Oregon Trail was updated in the 90s like how tabletop board games are updated. And the other game is... This franchise just keeps haunting me, huh? That's right, by some will of God, I ran across a backyard sports title right when the visual change happened. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my overly detailed explanation on it here. Ironically, this is my 1 CD that I bought without checking the case, which I should have because there's no disc. It's still good for display, and being realistic, the disc wouldn't work on a modern machine, but it'd be nice to have a complete set someday. And now for something completely different. Jimmy Ray Dean was born on August 10, 1928 in South Fort, Texas. His mother taught him piano at the age of 10. Dean dropped out of high school and became a professional entertainer serving the US Air Force in the late 1940s. And then some other things happened, and now his face is on frozen sausage boxes. One of the things that happened in between was the Jimmy Dean Show, the first of our Goodwill. The Jimmy Dean Show is one of the many variety shows from the 50s and 60s, with a focus on more country music due to Dean being a country artist. Some of the more famous guests include Roy Clark, the Everly Brothers, Chet Atkins, Fred Flintstone, and hey, isn't that the guy from the Muppets? That's right, one Jim Henson was brought on to do a sketch and song with Jimmy using a brand new Muppet named Rolf, and his character was so popular he appeared in every single episode of the show, except the first because he debuted in the second. Rolf was Jim Henson's first Muppet character to regularly appear on TV, and the only one to do so until 1969 when Sesame Street was created. And also in 1969, Jimmy Dean founded the Jimmy Dean Sausage Company, which of course still exists today as a corporate husk puppeting poor Dean's corpse to sell you half-decent frozen meals. Speaking of corporate husk puppets, Alvin and the Chipmunks 2 The Squeakquel. Actually, can we not talk about this one? What do you mean it's my only other funny DVD? Is The Driving Zone starring Dale Earnhardt Jr. not funny? No, fuck you. I'm talking about Driving Zone. Shove those chipmunks up your ass. The Driving Zone is a driving instruction DVD made by the Dale Earnhardt Foundation. The DVD does not teach you about racing techniques, even though all they talk about in the back of the DVD is how much they bonded and know each other from racing. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the background behind me has nothing on it. That's because there's zero trace of this DVD anywhere online. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of listings on eBay to buy it, but not a single person has uploaded any footage of this DVD on the internet. There's full playlist for a Driving Zone 2 and a Parents Driving Zone, but none for Driving Zone 1. Does this count as lost media? Hell if I know, but I'm gonna say yes to feel cool. So now I can say I found lost media 2 videos in a row. I am so good at this internet thing. Oh, also, the reason why I haven't just played a DVD and got footage from it is because my copy is sealed and I can't be asked opening it. Sorry, Sweaty, looks like this media is staying lost unless you have $9 to spend on eBay. Before we move on to the cream of the crop of the trinket pile, I just want to show you a few other miscellaneous things I got from Goodwill. You saw the 8-ball in the calculator, but now get ready for it. That's right, I found an honest-to-God clown horn in a Goodwill. And not just that, it lives in the glove box of my car. And yes, I use this exactly for the reason you're thinking of. I got a Squirrel Luigi plush. His overalls are a little messy, but it's fine. Oh yeah, I also have this massive ass painting. If it wasn't obvious already, this painting is a massive mixed media piece combining famous people from all walks of life, like movies, music, and a J.K. Rowling character taxidermied on the wall. This painting was made in 2005, so it's off the hook, I guess, but just to make it better, there we go. The actual painting is called Icons of History and Entertainment by artist Uwe Haruni. Seeing who are considered icons here really reinforces the 2005 part of the title. Regardless of its one tiny flaw, I adore this painting. It has that badass skeleton drawing or gangster cartoon character vibe. To this day, there are people on this painting I don't recognize, and it seems whoever pasted the description of the painting on this site forgot to copy the whole thing. Oh, by the way, before we move on, at some point this painting got DLC, I guess? On the same website prints of this painting were being sold on, there's this version which has more stuff added around the original. But anyway, now we get to our final and most zany section, the...
Wait a minute, didn't we destroy that?
So throughout this entire video, I've been poking fun at the stupid things I've bought, but I want to make very clear that if you put the effort into it, you can find genuinely good things at thrift stores. Most of my DVD collection is from Goodwill, I just pointed out the funny ones. Same with my CDs and etc. I say all this because my vinyl collection is the one collection I have where quality items are the minority. To quickly cover them, I have a 60s Disney song compilation album that was only sold in the California park, a Glenn Miller compilation, a Dixieland compilation which features the first jazz recording ever from 1917, that's World War I for point of reference, a Mills Brothers Count Basie collab album from 1968, and a 3 LP pristine box set of 1950s rock and roll. Was any of that boring? Good, because we're going off the rails starting now! 22 Guitarras, 22 Voces is a Spanish mariachi record with less than 22 guitars and voices on any given song. I have a couple of exclusively Spanish records since Florida has a big Hispanic population. Can I understand any of it? God no. I can read Spanish, but I can't hear any language well.
I have an auditory processing disorder.
Chipmunk Punk. Chipmunk Punk. If the name Chipmunks on 16 Speed means anything to you, you know this album. The actual album is just really bad. Egal Ego by Jet X. I bought this album for a very specific reason. That day I went to Goodwill, there was a huge stack of roughly 30 to 40 records, all in French, and when I took any of the discs out, sand would pour out of the record itself. My only guess is these were played in a French beach and they got cursed by the Pharaoh of France. Cuentos Picantes Volume 4 by El Tadeo. This is our first of multiple spoken word comedy records. Please picture a set of quotation marks the size of Honda Civics when I say comedy. All of the comedy records are from before 1980, so you can picture the exact kind of humor they contain. Well, for the others at least. Tadeo here speaks so fast I can't get a word he's saying. Elementary ball gymnastics. Before YouTube tutorials, before instructional tapes, there were instructional records. This one belonged to a school's library. I'm not telling you which, shoo. Field Day was bought solely because of the album cover. You knew someone in school just like this. This Marshall guy is actually still going to this day. Good for him. Gilbert O'Sullivan is famous for writing a song that would eventually be used in a pun in a Simpsons episode name. The combination of the album name being himself and it prominently saying featuring Alone Again naturally just makes this guy look incredibly lonely. You'll get him next time, Big G. Jimmy Nelson's Instant Ventriloquism is our other instructional record. As you can see, it taught me how to be a ventriloquist really well. I mean, my mouth hasn't moved once since the channel started and you didn't notice. I somehow found a duology of comedy albums made by the same guy. The first joke on the record is about beating your wife. These jokes write themselves. Radiant Dawn by The Operator should not be here. My dad bought a record from someone online and was sent this sealed. He complained that it was the wrong record, got sent the right one, but was never requested to send this back, so I just kept it with me. I like the pyramid, I guess. Smoochin' Time by the Ames Brothers was precision engineered to be played while kissing strictly after marriage. Working Class Dog by Rick Springfield. You don't know this guy or this album, but you know the song. I I'm glad I found this basically new original pressing, because there's some good stuff on this album honestly, all of a similar tone to that song. In fact, this and our next album were the first and second records I ever thrifted. However, like when the world was given the miracle of light, it was also given the dark. I am going to literally stop everything to preface this here. All things considered, this album isn't that big of a deal, but I want to make this perfectly clear. I do not condone this album in any conceivable way, and the fact that it's in my house fucking sucks. I present to you, all the way from 1965, the spoken word comedy record, You Don't Have to Be Jewish. I don't like saying the name of this album, so I'm just going to be calling it Jay from this point on. Jay was created by the comedic duo of Bob Booker and George Foster, neither of which are Jewish, and is played by 8 actors, with likely none of them being Jewish either. The album consists of 44 minutes of Jewish jokes. I don't know if it's because I am not Jewish myself or I'm just extremely naive, but there were entire skits where I just sat there looking mildly confused because it was just a fairly normal, if not slightly irregular situation, but the characters just happened to be Jewish, and then there'd be a laugh track. The album's title is apparently a reference to a bread company called Levy's, who made a type of bread common in Jewish communities. I get what they were going for with the title, but having only this part of the phrase in big red letters with whatever the hell is going on down below is just not a good look. Okay, I don't think even I was quite ready for how batshit this shit was gonna get. Let's wrap this up now. As I said right before I went down the vinyl spiral, what I've shown you is what happens when you intentionally collect the weird and stupid things you can find at thrift stores. But you don't have to do that. In fact, I recommend you not to in case you end up stuck with something like Jay in your house. You have a phone you're likely using to watch this very video. If at any time you're at a thrift store and you see something stupid or funny or just peculiar, take photos or video of it. And if you want it, like really want it, then consider buying it. But otherwise, just leave it there. Thrift responsibly, kids. But let's not end on that sour note. I legitimately learned a lot about the Muppets by accident by just finding that silly Jimmy Dean DVD. And sure, while there's plenty of episodes of it on YouTube, if those ever go down, I got them all backed up right here. Speaking of the Jimmy Dean show, I gotta go. I can only end the video when they make a joke about beating your wife because it's 1963. Well, howdy kids, it's me, Jimmy Dean from the Jimmy Dean Show. I'm going to punch my wife. Well, that was quick.